Welcome to Embryo, South Ings Lane. This is the furthest north I've ever had a bite in my life, and I am on pit 3 of 3, and this one's got about 80 fish in it. Mostly Simon Scott's beautiful fish that he breeds with Viv Shears. There's a few fish from the Lee Valley source that we use as well, some nice commons. So we've got a real nice mix of fish. And believe it or not, it's been open 18 months and there are still tickets available. What we're going to do, we're here with a load of the tackle shops that we deal with, and hopefully we're going to get amongst a few fish. And oh, it's a common. It's a nice common. What a way to start. It looks like a 20. Get in that net. Get in that net. Come on. Get in. Oh man, what a way to start. That's a 20 pounder. Get in. Bosh. Finally. Right, my first carp from frozen north is, whoa, still, 25.14. Wow, get in. Well, check that out. What an awesome common carp. 2 years ago, these lakes were just holes in the ground, no fish in them, no swims, no track, no members. After a short space of time, we've got these amazing creatures. And this one, I guarantee you, this will be 40 pound one day. And I just want to say thank you very much to Colin, who runs the syndicate here. He's here every day. It's like a second home to him. And it's really paid off because we've got amazing fish. And there's still 24 hours of the session left to go. Hopefully we're going to get some more. But for now, let's give it a kissy. Mwah! Thank you so much. What a way to start. We're here on a social with a lot of the lads that we actually deal with in the tackle shops through Korda. And one of the big questions over the couple of days is, how do I know that my rig is landing where my float is? So you pop the float up to the surface. Obviously, when you cast out, the lead swings back towards you on a tight line, and it's how far past the float do I have to be for the lead to land exactly where the lead is at the bottom of the marker rod. And the way I do it, basically at the start of the session, I only have a marker lead on my marker rod. There's no marker float there at all. And I cast around until I find what I want to fish on. So the depth at the beginning is immaterial. So once I've found, in this case, some sort of rough gravel coming out of the soft mud that's in deeper water. The rough gravel means that you're on the marginal slope as it starts to come up. Once I've found that, then I'll clip that rod up. So I'll put the rod up to about probably almost 90 degrees, pointing straight up. I'll clip the rod up, wind it in, and before I do anything else, I'll go around the distance sticks and record how far it is. Then I'll put the marker float on, so I'm just loop to looping the lead off, and then putting the marker lead, sliding it up the line, and actually loop to looping the float back on. Then I'll cast out to that same spot. Obviously it will hit the clip, and I'll let the float up to gauge the depth. In this case it's about 20 feet. Yeah, and then when I'm casting my fishing rod out, all I do is go around the distance sticks the same distance, so I don't try and cast at the float at all without going around the distance sticks. In this case it's 8 and 9 rod lengths, and obviously it hits the clip past the float, and then it swings back towards me, and the lead hits the bottom exactly where the marker float lead is. So if you want to get right on top of your marker float area, that's what I recommend. Rather than casting at the float and not realising how far past it you are and where it's actually landed on the bottom, if you wrap out around the distance sticks first, put the float out again, and then cast past it and hit the same clip on your fishing rods, you'll be bang on top of it. That just comes from experience of fishing deep waters, but I use exactly the same tactics, whether there's bars out there, I'm just fishing on a marginal slope. That is how to fish with pinpoint accuracy. Whew. Well, same rod again. Unfortunately, I lost the fish after that lovely common, so I've just lengthened the hook link a little bit, and seems to have done the trick. Doesn't feel as big as the last one, but they're all welcome. Come on, get in that net. Get in the net. Yes, got him. Come on. And there he is, like a brand new penny. 14 1/4. One of Simon Scott's fish, these ones. And it does seem to be lengthening the hook link and letting the rod actually burst off is the secret to not dropping them. So I'm going to get the rod back out again once it's got dark and see if we can catch some more. But look at that, that is a 40 pounder in the making. Well, good morning. It's day 2 at South Ings, and the fish have been all over me this morning. Nothing happened during the night. Recast my rods in the dark because we're having a bit of a social here with a few of our customers. And the lakes are known for being day fisheries rather than night, and the fish have been showing this morning just out over the deep water, sort of over 30-40 feet of water out in front of me. And it looked like it was going to happen. They've moved in, hit that 20-foot area, and we're in. Come on, Scotty, in you come, in you come, get in that net. Bosh! First one of the day, wicked. The rigs I've employed on this session have evolved a little bit, mainly because I've had some disasters. Come on. I chose to fish a helicopter rig because basically you can cast it anywhere by moving the no trace beads up the helicopter rig, up the lead core. You know, you can cast it into weed, and if you're fishing on hard bottom, you just move the bead down right next to the lead, you know, and it's a pretty efficient hooker that way as well. So I've coupled that with a very, very short hook link, and I think that's been one of my problems. I'm using the new boom material, and to start off with, I was using it quite short. The boom section was probably only 3 or 4 inches. And the first couple of fish I bumped off. One I lost on the way in, the next one I bumped off as I picked the rod up. And we're in a very extreme situation here. It's deep, I'm fishing 20 to 22 foot. I'm only fishing 30 yards out. I've got 3 3/4 test curve rods. Basically as I'm winding down and pulling into the fish, I'm bumping the hooks out. What I basically did after opening a size 4 curve that's on what I call the spinner rig, which clips onto a little quick change swivel, so the hook just stands upright off the bottom. It's worked brilliantly for me in loads of places with a size 4 curve, but in this situation it's so extreme that the fish charge off. It's in deep water, so I'm right over the top of the fish, and I open the hook up. So I went over to a size 4 wide gape X, and that solved the problem. The next bite was the 25 pounder. It was absolutely nailed. It was never coming off in a million years, and that was still on quite a short section of boom material. The rig went back out again, still with a little Mystic Spice pop-up on it, and the next fish I bumped off. And again, I got onto the rod too quickly. So what I've actually learned in this situation, it's probably not the rig that's causing the problems, it's the fact that I'm fishing so close in, I'm on them so quickly that I'm actually pulling into the fish while it's still struggling to get rid of the hook in the early stages of the bite, and I'm bumping the hook out. So by leaving it and letting the fish run, you know, after I've started doing that, I've landed everything. An absolutely gorgeous little scraper double. Look at the scaling on him. It's going to be amazing when that's 30 pound one day. And again, fallen to the Mystic Spice pop-up. Just fished on a really short rig, helicopter style. And now I'm leaving the rod to go a little bit before I pick up into them. I'm landing them. So mission accomplished. These lakes at South Ings lend themselves perfectly to using a catapult. It's rare that I get the opportunity to bait up so close in, so it's an absolute joy to do it. I'm using half baits because the slopes out there are quite steep. I think these lakes were dug for the clay in them to form bricks, and obviously so they've dug them as steeply as they possibly can. A round bait is going to roll down that steep slope and probably collect at a depth below where your actual rig is, you know, so you're drawing the fish away from your bait rather than towards it. So by cutting the baits in half with the cutter, you're doubling the number of food items that come out of a kilo of bait. And all I'm doing is just walking around to the adjacent bank. I put my marker float out once at the start of the session, and I just bait up to that, gauge the distance off the bank I have to be, and then when I get future bites, I walk round, just put a little bit of bait out, just probably 4 or 5 pouchfuls of bait. If there's any fish there, hopefully I'll scare them away with the bait, not with the rig. Back to my swim, and then flick a rod over the top of it. So, you know, catapults are not ideal in all fishing situations. They obviously limit how far you can put the bait out, but for this situation, it creates a brilliant spread, and you can get more food out there really quickly, really quietly, and hopefully get a few more bites.
Okay, bobbin on, sensitivity up.
Cool, and we're angling. You'll notice I'm fishing much slacker than most people do. In this situation, it gets deep really quickly, and I'm fishing really close in, and with a tight line off the tip of the rod, you can just imagine it cutting down through the margins, being really obvious to the fish. They're either going to see it or bump into it when they're feeding, and I think once they know the line's there, they're a lot more cautious. They may even leave the area completely. So when I'm fishing close in, I fish really slack. People worry about the bite indication. That doesn't bother me at all. You know, the fish only got to move a couple of feet, and that bobbin will be up at the top, and then the fish will be taking line. And because I am so close in, the fish can only go out anyway. So they're always going to pull it up tight. And I find with a slack line, the fish do tend to move further. If the line's really tight, sometimes they can kite on that tight line and be in the weed and you don't know anything about it. With a slack line, the bobbin always pulls up to the top, even if the fish doesn't take line off the clutch. You know you've got one on, you wind down into it and bang, you're in. So once the leads hit the bottom, and that's another really important part of this sort of fishing, or any sort of carp fishing really, you feel the lead down, donk, feel it hit the bottom, and here it tells you that it's 18 to 20 foot deep rather than 35 foot deep, which it can be in some other areas, because it just takes so long to hit the bottom when it's really deep. You know it's in the wrong spot, you wind it in and redo it. So feel the lead hit the bottom, you know, the rig's all laid out nice, sink the line, and then I'll just pay plenty of line off so it's just hanging slack off the tip of the rod. And then the bobbins themselves, you can see the weight of the stow there is supported by the reel, it's not supported by the rig. So the line in front of it is completely slack, there's no weight on it at all, and it's the line coming down from the roller to the bobbin itself that actually supports the weight. And that's one of the beauties of the stows, because they're semi-fixed onto the line. You can fish them completely slack like this, there's no pressure on that side of it at all. The line can drape down, and hopefully the fish can come in and feed with confidence, and then you get one. So my recommendation is, if you're going to fish close in on really deep lakes, fish a slack line. If you don't use a stow, have the bobbin sitting on the floor, and I promise you, you'll get more bites.
Well, just packing my kit away to go home, and it's roared off again. The same rod down on the right hand side, 8 rod lengths, just at the bottom of the slope. Mystic Spice, little pop up again. And I actually forgot to turn the buzzer on, so it was roaring off before I even realised it was there. Oh, he's going. Look at this. Proper ruck in this one. Doesn't look massive though, but still very welcome.
Yes, got him.
Wicked. And there he is, 15 pounds, proper bar of gold. Another one from the Lee Valley source, this one, and totally different shape to that 25 pounder. Long and lean, but I'm sure it's got loads of growing in it. And a very fitting end to my first trip to Embryo Southings. I've absolutely loved it up here. The site's maturing so well. The fish are stunning, you know, a great membership as well. And the future is definitely bright up here. So let's give them a little kissy. Mwah. Back you go.